Hi, this is Mike Brown, owner of Death Wish Coffee Company. Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast.
I love Jeff, but sweet and high. Whoop, Mr. Motorama Coffee Spot.
Death Wish Coffee presents Fueled by Deathcast, the world's strongest podcast. With your hosts, the incredible Jeff and the amazing D-Man.
Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast. It is episode 116, and this one's full of metal.
Aren't they all a little?
Yeah,
they all have at least a little bit of metal. Yeah, but this one is like jammed, packed full of metal. It's brimming. It's falling all over the cup. It's getting all over our hands. We're covered in metal.
Covered in metal. So first up, let me just say, I am the incredible Jeff.
And I am, I'm Dustin.
Yar. We love it if you follow us on social media. I am at Jeff Wish Coffee.
And I am at Deathwish Dustin.
And follow the entire show at Fueled by Deathcast across Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we got to shout out our good friend and the voice of death himself, Mr. Brock Powell.
BrockVox.com or at BrockVox on Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah, and we love Brock. He's a man of 1,000 voices, and like I said, the voice of this show. Check out what he's doing. He's doing some really cool stuff this year. Animation, video games, the whole nine.
Could you imagine if he was the man of 1,000 voices all at once?
Oh my God, it would just sound like this.
You're the man of 1,000 voices.
I'm coming for your job. We also here love podcasts, and I just want to take a second to shout out some of our good friends in the podcast industry. First up, a good friend and a guest on this show, Ricky Rackman. You might remember him as the host of MTV's Headbangers Ball back in the day. And Ricky also was basically responsible for the infamous Cat House Club. And now he's got a podcast called Cat House Hollywood Podcast, where he just runs down a single night what happened in the bowels of this club during one crazy night. Every other week he comes out with this, and it's crazy. He has a handful of episodes, and there's already been so much crazy rock and roll stories that have come out of it.
Yeah, do you remember hearing any stories from the Cat House back in the day?
Oh yeah, and in fact, when because he was running the Cat House in the late '80s, and then when he got the job at MTV in the '90s, a lot of those guys that got their start in the Cat House, like Guns N' Roses, and like bands like that, were coming on to MTV's Headbangers Ball and regaling some of these stories. Like, oh man, Ricky, remember 2 years ago when we played the club and like everything caught on fire or whatever? You know, like,
did everything ever catch on fire?
I don't know. You're gonna have to tune in to the Cat House Hollywood podcast to find out. But it's really, really cool. And I also want to take a second and shout out another friend of ours, Mr. Matthew Hendershot. Matt actually helped us set up this show when we were first getting into the podcast game. And him and his lovely wife have moved to Germany, and he's trying to make it out there now and you know, in a new world, in a new country. And he decided, you know what, I'm gonna do my own podcast and kind of chronicle me taking a shot at that. And that's exactly what it is. Him and his buddies have a weekly podcast now called I'll Take a Shot at That, and I'll let them explain it a little better for you right here.
Hey everyone, my name is Matthew Hendershot.
And I'm Jake.
And I'm Justin.
We are three Leipzig, Germany transplants kicking off a brand new podcast called I'll Take a Shot at That. My friends and I will be setting out on adventures and having conversations from the unique to the mundane, and we will be taking a shot at figuring out this crazy modern world.
Basically, we'll be BBC, NPR, CNN, rolled into
Fox
one.
News.
That too. Providing...
Whoa, slow your roll,
I think he's got it.
It's much more likely that what we're going to turn out to be is a room full of half-drunken idiots spreading a thick layer of bovine excrement over the news of the day and whatever it is we feel like
much better
about.
And more credible.
I'll Take a Shot at That will be published weekly and is available on iTunes, Google Play, and all the other major publication platforms.
We can also be found in all the best time-wasting social media out there, like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at /shot at that.
I can't wait to get started.
Let's get started.
Certainly, I will take a shot at that.
I'll take a shot at that.
Cheers.
Every time I hear that bump, all I want is shots.
If you could have a shot at anything right now, what would it be?
Oh my God. It would be probably anything at 18 years or older, scotch.
Oh. You would take a shot of. I like to sip scotch.
Me too, but it's been a long day. And I could sure use something that would put some hair on my back immediately.
Nice. Yeah, you do have a
how about
hairless
you
back.
then? Same question.
That is a good question.
You like your vodka?
I do like my vodka, and that's kind of what. There's nothing better than a freezing cold shot of vodka. Like so cold, it like hits your esophagus, and like you could feel the frost build up on your chest. That's what I like.
I guess I'll take a shot to that. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Secret code unlocked. Discount of death.
This week, and well, hell, every week. Make sure to use our awesome podcast discount of death, to get 12% off of everything on deathwishcoffee.com.
I mean, you guys are already going to the website. You guys are, buying coffee and merchandise. We see you out there. And we just wanted to give you a way to save a little cash, because we're constantly coming out with new stuff. I was just looking at the marketing calendar, as I do every single week, and it just constantly grows with more cool stuff.
And what's better than cool stuff is cool stuff that's a little bit cheaper, exactly 12% cheaper. So as you're buying that cool stuff in your discount code area, all you have to do is type in one word. Well, it's 3 words, but we're smashing it into one word: discount of death, and 12% off just for you guys.
Enjoy it. All right, guys. This interview was so much fun. I love getting in contact with people organically over coffee, and that's exactly what happened here. We met the singer of Exodus, Steve Zetro Souza.
Souza.
The words aren't even coming out of my mouth. I'm so excited. Steve was amazing to talk with, and he's a big lover of coffee, and we actually helped caffeinate their last tour, which was really, really cool. Exodus is the reason why so many of us love metal. I mean, for real. I mean, there's, the big four. You've heard that term thrown around, but I personally believe Exodus deserves as much love as Metallica.
Yeah, I mean, they were obviously one of the major pioneers to thrash metal.
Speed and just...
Which why it makes total sense that they're drinking the strongest coffee in the world.
Exactly. And we got to sit with Steve and talk with him about his career and what it's like to go out on tour now. Because, I mean, like, he was touring back in the early days of Exodus, in the 80s, and how the metal scene has changed, how the tour scene has changed, how we've all gotten older since then, it's an incredible conversation. I cannot wait for you guys to hear it, so I'm going to shut up and let's get into it. Mugs up this week's death guest, Steve Zetro Souza from Exodus.
The Fueled by Death guest.
Well, Steve, thanks for joining us, and I kind of want to start in present day. As we're talking to you right now, Exodus just finished up another killer tour, and you guys were, I believe, over in Europe, correct?
Yeah, we had 17 shows throughout Europe, 8 of them in Germany, but I think there was another 10 that was Italy, France, Holland, just scattered throughout Europe.
Oh man, and I gotta ask, for someone who's been in the industry for so long and has been touring the world as much as you have, because I like knowing this, especially because we're in the States. What are the crowds like for Exodus in Europe? Is it bigger? Is it always a bigger thing?
I don't know if it's bigger. I guess yes and no. I think more loyal, if that makes any sense to you at all. They love it to death. They're still into the battle jackets with the patches on it. I mean, that is still huge. I only remember that in the 80s here.
Yeah.
That died out. But they're very much into that total, if they love you, there's people that follow us around. Their vacation's coming up and they're going to go spend 8 days with Exodus. And so it's just a different mentality, I think. But the European crowds, definitely. South America is too, the same way. Japan. Yeah. It's just America's got a lot of things going on. So there's a lot of distractions. And metal gets no love, really, in the United States. There's not a television show or really a national radio show that has any, Eddie Trunk does his thing and liquid metal, but there's no TV show. They had that metal show for a few years. They don't do that. So there's nothing. If you watch the award shows on television, there's not even one hard rock award anymore. So it's not really catered to us. So I think if you love it, you totally love it. And that's great because it's fans forever. I mean, how many bands that put a record out from other genres of music in 1985 can still put out new records and people go, wow, that's fresh. That's still great. Still heavy. It's still got some edge to it, you know?
And it is a shame that we live in that world where, you know, not just metal, but I feel like rock as a whole is just.
I agree. I so agree. It's just awful. I mean, Huda was that at halftime at the football game the other day, and Gary Holt made a big statement on Facebook about it. I can't even remember because it just they're not even a rock. I don't care. How can you call that rock? Do you call Coldplay rock?
No.
Do you call Maroon 5 rock?
No.
Because that's what they're dishing out as rock. The only one I can give any respect to are Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're rock still. But I grew up, I'm 50, maybe 55 years old. I grew up in the 70s when all there was Rod Stewart and Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles and Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones. It was rock, you know? And of course you had Earth, Wind and Fire and great soul bands and R&B bands, but it wasn't like, just the pop music today is just awful. I mean, I could deal with the Osmond Brothers. I could deal with, the Jackson 5. I could deal with that. The DeFranco family. I can't deal with this stuff. I just won't listen to it.
Yeah. What do you think makes it so deplorable?
I don't think there's much musicianship in it anymore. Yeah. I think every they go into a room with buttons and just put it so there's nothing coming from the heart. They're going to get popular. They're going to go into the studio. Like I see this all the time. Guys are writing lyrics in the studio and then they're splurting it out. It's like, did you have time to think about really, is that really good enough? Are you composing a song and that's it? You know what I mean? And so I just think it's that's why it's kind of waste paper basket. You don't see anybody buying catalog of rap records, even from 3 years ago, but they're still buying Bonded by Blood. You know what I mean? So totally. It's a different demographic when it comes to that.
Totally. And going back to like your start, I mean, it's a widely known. I mean, you started in Exodus in '86, and before that you were with Legacy, which then turned to obviously New Testament. But let's go even farther back than that, because you were talking about it. You grew up in a heyday of rock and roll. What was it that sparked in your head that was like, you know what, I want to try and do this. I want to be a musician. I want to go out there and be rock. What was that?
My dad was a biker, and my dad built Harleys in the garage. And in the late 60s and early 70s, he's listening to Zeppelin and the Allman Brothers and Black Sabbath and Jimi Hendrix. And so when I heard all that stuff, and then I heard Stairway to Heaven, it had to be probably when it came out, because I was about 8 years old, 72, I think. Wow. And when I heard the lead guitar and the way Plant raises his voice, and as rewind, I never heard a vocal like that before, ever. It just hooked me. And then ever since then, I loved anything that had hard edge. I mean, I was in 6th grade and kids were going, Souza listens to acid metal or acid rock, because metal wasn't even a term yet. Right. You know what I mean? It was like, well, I was listening to whatever the heaviest shit was, the heaviest shit. So did you
end up starting a band at all in school before like?
No, I actually wasn't until I got about a year out of school. And I actually hooked up with these guys, and one of them is Phil Demmel. He played guitar in Machine Head. He just left recently, but he played in Violence, and he was the first guitar player that I played with. And from then, I got hooked, and then I was playing with those guys, and I met Derek, Eric, and Louie, who were the Legacy, and that's how Legacy started. Yeah. And so I went and kind of went out to, I lived in Dublin and they lived in Alameda. It was probably a 35-minute drive, and I went out there and met these guys, and they were playing this music that, nobody was playing. It was thrash. It was something that people weren't really playing, And when I heard it, I was like, wow, this is raw like punk, but still has the edge like hard rock music, So.
And then, I mean, to fast forward even a little bit farther after you're joining Exodus, and like I can remember, you know, and we talked about this earlier actually, how there's no real, you know, outlet for rock or metal in today's age. But back then, you know, I used to watch you guys on Headbangers Ball all the time, you know. And,
There is.
And
There is that.
Yeah, and there's none of that now. But what was it like being in that I don't know, that microcosm of you could put out a video, put it on Headbangers Ball, and everybody would see it, and then you guys could tour on that. What was that like, as opposed to what you have to deal with today in rock?
Well, the medium was different at that time. The medium was. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep, we're still good.
Can you see? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. The medium was different. The only way you could see your favorite bands was to go to the concert or watch them once a week on MTV. Now it's, you want to watch your favorite band from a concert, put on YouTube. You got last night's concert,
Right.
wherever the hell they were.
Right.
You know, we don't. It's kind of crushed the mystique of going to show. I remember when the Ramones used to come around, usually once a year, once every year and a half. You had to go see the Ramones to see the Ramones. You know, it wasn't like you could put up a video or something like that. It didn't work like that, you know, and it doesn't work like that. So
Yeah. And so do you think, and this is probably a loaded question, but do you think there's any way we can save rock and roll and metal in this day and age?
Yeah, what do you think we're missing? What's
metal
missing?
will always last because metal is always got that contingent fan base that doesn't give a shit. There's always going to be the dark. There's always going to be the outlaw. There's always going to be the guy who's always like, you know, sits out and wants to be different. I mean, if you go to schools now, metalheads are few and far between. I have 5 kids. I have 3 of my own and 2 step, and none of them. The last 2 just got out the last couple of years. My oldest is 29, and so not a lot of kids like you'll see going down the street wearing metal T-shirts anymore. You know what I mean? It's just it's more. I don't know. I guess hip hop or whatever pop music is. It's just not put in their face, so they don't know it. Again, if it was something that everybody looked at, then it would be different, but nobody does. So it's not cool. You know, the edge of metal is not cool. You know, it's more hip hop and whatever Drake's saying and this guy, you know, and so, but those guys turn over so fast. It's unbelievable.
Right.
You know, even the rappers that were around in 1985 have to do the old school metal rap tour together, you know what I mean, to get people to come. I don't have to do that shit. I can still go out and play on a new record that's going to be strong, you know?
Definitely. And I want to talk about it because you guys have been talking about it now for a couple of years. Is this the year we're going to get the new record from Exodus?
I don't know. I know one of our guitar players who's the main songwriter, and everybody knows what he's doing right now, right?
Slayer.
So what the hell am I going to do? You know what I mean?
Right.
I got to go, hey, while you're on tour with Slayer, can you write a new record? You know what I mean? It's like, I think, just to be honest with you, I think we've all put it, the fact that we would rather him come back with his head fully back into Exodus.
Yeah.
With not having to worry about, oh shit, well, I got to get the record done in the next 3 months because I got to go back out with Slayer in 3 months after that. I think since they've announced that this is it, then we're just going to kind of let it go and see what happens from there. I know that there was scheduled writing that was supposed to go on between Tom and Gary this month and next month because Slayer doesn't go back out again until the middle of March.
Uh-huh.
But I know that, you know, I think what we've planned is we want the best Exodus record that it can be. So it's not like we're going to run into a studio and go, shit, we better go write 10 fucking songs so that we got some product out there. I mean, I don't care if it takes 6 fucking years. And when it comes out, it's going to be grand and it's going to be great. And Gary will be then back full time.
Yeah.
And so you know, the ultimate force of us back, you know, since I've been back and now it's going to be, well, almost 5 years. I've played probably more shows with Craig than I have with Gary.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, but Gary is Exodus. Gary's been on every record. He's the writing direction and lyrical direction and all that sort of thing. So I can't look at it like it's well, let's just go write it, you know, and he can come in and play his rhythms and then go back out on the road. We're not trying to cheat the fans like that. You know what I mean? It's well, we got. You guys still like, everybody likes to hear Bonded by Blood. Well, for the next year, we're going to celebrate the 40th anniversary, probably playing that, playing Fabulous, playing stuff off the Rob Dukes era. You know, there's 10 albums worth of material. There's lots of good songs to play. It's not like you ever get sick of going to an Exodus show. You know, there's always some type of mayhem going on. So we'll continue that for the rest of the year. But it's very much in thought that we have. It's time. It's so time. To me, it's like, oh, God, I'm just dying. I want to write it so bad, but I know how good it'll be, and I don't want to, rush that process or rush him in that process. You know what I mean? I don't want to make him, like the four of us, call him, look, we need to get together and put a record together. You know what I mean? Everybody knows what the deal is on the table right now. So
well, it sounds like your patience comes with experience. Have you?
I think the fans too, though, because they look at the fact and know, look, Gary's in Slayer. We wish Jeff could be there, but Jeff can't be there, and Gary's been there forever, and they've now said, they're gonna say goodbye to the world, and. Why would I try to jam him? You know what I mean? I don't think that's conducive for anybody, and that's not conducive for the fans, because in the long run, you're going to get a record that we hurried through so you guys can have product, and that's not how Exodus has ever worked.
Right. Yeah. Have you ever ran into that issue with other bands, though, rushing into an album and kind of?
I don't think on anybody's part but mine. When I started Hatred, the band I had with my kids, we put out a record in February 2013. And then we put one out in February 2014. And that was that was a lot of work. I mean, bands don't normally put out records every year like that, full length, 40-minute, with epics and leads and then all kinds of vocal stuff on it. I mean, if you listen to metal music, especially this type of stuff we play, it's really intricate, It's not very easy to play, drum-wise, finger-picking-wise. Your left hand has to be just as good as your right hand and vice versa. So there's a lot of things to metal, especially the way we do it. We've always done it that way. There's 9-minute songs and 2 separate lead sections in them, that have complete stories and the leads in the own, and then 3 different verses and all chorus and sub-choruses. So there's a lot going on. So it's not like you throw it together and throw it out and go, fuck it, the fans will love it. You know what I mean? We don't play that.
Exactly. And is it normally in the writing process, is it Gary and Tom bringing the antithesis of the idea to the band and then you guys kind of go from there?
I think that's how it has to work. It's always been that way. I think in any band, any other band that I was in with, the guitar and the drums have to get together for the basic structure of it, I guess. And then everybody comes in and puts their flavor on it, and that's how it has to be. But I think when I remember in the day, there's technology now. Those guys can record something and at the studio and send it to me, you know what I mean? Yeah. And go on my phone, and you couldn't do that in the 80s, you had to go and listen to it. Recorded to reel. We recorded a chip now. We recorded to reel, where it had to be exactly like it, and it was just a different, whole different ballgame, different demographic on that end as well.
Do you think that changes the music at all with a process like that, with technology at our fingertips?
No, it makes it easier, honestly, and I'm going to say I don't need to sing the same chorus 3 times through the song. It doesn't change. Yeah. Your ear's not going to hear it, you know what I mean? So... And if you like the way it's sung in the melody, you may change the approach or the attack a little bit, but it's not. It just makes it that much easier for everyone.
Yeah, totally. And going back to what you kind of mentioned, this year, I believe, marks the 40th anniversary of that incredible record. Is there
actually just of Exodus being around. 85 is
that's right, 85, yeah.
But 79 is when Kirk Hammett and Tom Hunting put Exodus together. So we have got 40 years this year of that. And that was, I think Gary joined the next year, and that's when Bailoff was in.
Yeah.
And then another guy named Jeff Andrews. They put up a picture of it a couple of weeks ago on Instagram. It was great just to see
I'll have to put that in here.
Bailoff, Kirk, and Tom, and Gary, and Jeff Andrews.
Do you think there's going to be any plans to celebrate this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's plans, there's talk. I just don't know where it's going to go. We'd hate to do it without Gary, and Slayer's booked up solid from March till the end of the year.
Yeah.
I would think, So, I mean, there's so much the rest of the world that they have to go over because, again, it's a full world tour for them to say goodbye. So, and there's no timeline. I don't know when that ends. I don't know when the last show is. I have so we'll just have to see what happens with that. I'm sure we'll do something, even if we do it with Cragen, because Cragen has been a great fill-in for Gary. We couldn't have asked for anybody better. Person, guitar player, just all around.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So on a musicianship side of it, I gotta ask, what do you really gravitate towards being in the band? Do you enjoy touring? Do you enjoy recording? Do you enjoy the writing process? What really gets you jazzed?
I dig the writing process. Hate recording. Like to play the shows. Just hate the rest of tour.
Like all the downtime.
Shows are the best part of the day. Rest of the tour, so that breaking it down for you, that's about how it is. But if they all go hand in hand, and you can't take one better than the other, you could have it worse. You could be, doing something that you don't want to do, or don't, like, and still have to do it because that's life.
Yeah.
So.
What's your trick of wasting downtime on tour?
Oh shit! There's a lot of tricks. Netflix is a must.
Yeah.
Watch nothing during the rest of the year. If you know you're going on tour, don't let anybody tell you, dude, go watch this on Netflix. Just write it down. And then when you get on the road, you go and you get into Wi-Fi, you download, you check it out, you download. I never watched Breaking Bad before, ever. And this summer we had 6.5 weeks we had to do in Europe. I watched that whole series in 6 days.
Oh
in 6 days, from season 1 to the last season, all of it in 6 days. That's where I'm at. We had a ride. We had to go from Romania to Hungary, and it was like a 12-hour ride.
Oh my God!
I just sat on the back of the bus, smoked weed, and fucking watched Breaking Bad. It was just like what you do, So then I watched a ton of shows this summer on Netflix. I went through all of Trailer Park Boys again, from the first season to the last, and so just anything they had going on. Just that's what you do. You read, you exercise. If you got time and you know where you're at, you go around. But not every city is like, wow, let's go check it out. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
It's not all like that. So you pick and choose your places. I look at tour like Groundhog Day.
It's the same thing.
The fucking same thing every single day. Nothing's gonna change but the faces a little bit. Yeah. It's gonna be the same pictures, the same autographs, the same line and catering, the same dressing room smell, the same. It's just like that. But hey, you chose this life, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Your mom said, hey, maybe you should go to school. Fuck that. I'm going to be a rock star, Mom. Yeah, so there you go.
I'm going to watch all Breaking Bad in 6 days.
Lucky you.
Well, that leads me into my next question. Then it's through it all from the '80s to now, and all that you've done with it, and through the ups and the downs. What fuels you to keep doing it? What fuels you to wanting to keep getting on stage, wanting to keep recording, keep making music? What fuels you to do that?
That's what I do. That's what I am. And I tell other musicians like this all the time. I'll get around guys that are more major than me, and I'll tell them if I get, because I'm very approachable, and I approach people, and whoever it is. And I've played with everybody, believe me. I've been on a festival or played a show with every band you can think of. And so I say this is what we are. This is what we were put here to do. This is what we have become. and you're not anything else. You don't sell haberdashery. You're not a car salesman. You're not, this is what you are. Always do this. I was saying this to Paul Quinn from Saxon last year at the Metal Hammer Awards. I was saying, don't ever stop. And he's like, this is what we are. I'm like, this is what we are. I say that all the time. This is what I am. This is what I've been since I was 8 years old, listening to Led Zeppelin in my father's garage. And now it's a reality. You know what I mean? It's been a reality since 85, 86, and so with all the bands I've done, played with my kids in the Hatred. I've done stuff with my guys I've grown up with, Double Death Patrol, to Strapping Young Lad, Tenet, helped Legacy, Testament get there.
Yeah.
Got my face in with Exodus. I mean, my resume speaks for itself. I'm in the business. I've done. This is what I do. This is what I am.
Yeah. So, and on the other side of that question, from seeing it all from then till now, what would be your advice to someone wanting to break into the business now, especially from the rock or metal side of it?
I tell them, and I tell everybody the same thing I have for years: play music for fun. If it comes at you in the way that you can maybe turn it into something, if you're in the right place at the right time and you have talent, because timing is everything and talent is everything, then it's great. If you're playing in your garage and 10 people come watch you, you're 10 people ahead. If you play a show and 2 people buy your t-shirts, you're way ahead of the game right then. Play music for fun, because if you try to go into this business thinking, I'm going to be a rock star and I'm going to play on stage and I'm going to play sold out concerts, and that shit don't happen, you're going to be bitter on the business. And I've seen people say to me, man, you fucking got it, man. I never did. None of that shit happened to me. Fucking, I go, oh, so do you play? Man, I don't even go to concerts anymore, So you hate the music business because you tried it and didn't become a rock star for whatever fucking reason. You know what I mean? So I tell anybody, kids, whoever asks me, what do you do? Play music for fun. Play music, and if something extra happens, great. Something extra happens, great. Something extra happens, count every one of them that goes. I mean, I'm so fortunate to do press because of what my career has done. Do you understand? There's a way to look at it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, I got nothing better today. I'm going to go out and sit around and watch the, pigeon shit all over my fence. You know what I mean? It's like, why not? Why not? Why not hang out and talk and see what's up?
Do you feel like you always carried that mentality, or is that something you had?
I always do. Always have. Always have. Not a rock star at all. I'm very approachable. You can come to me on tour. If you see me at the grocery store, man, it don't matter. It's like, I was in the gym the other day. I go to the gym 6 days a week. And I was in the gym the other day and some kid walks by me. And he's looking at me with look. I'm like, what the fuck? What, I got snot hanging out my nose? With the deal? He walks up to him, and you didn't even look like a metalhead at all. And he walks up and he goes, are you Steve Souza? And I go, yeah, what's up? He's like, dude, I love Temple of the Damned. I'm a huge Exodus fan. I'm like, oh, right on, bro. He's like, man, he just sat there and we talked for a couple of minutes. And I see him in the gym every couple of days now working out. But some dudes you wouldn't even think looked like had any sides of metal in him whatsoever.
And that's so important, because you made that dude's day, too. Because he's such a huge fan.
Oh, believe me. See, that's another thing. I'm not naive to that shit. I'm not naive to how I'm perceived, and I get that, and I'm cool with that. And I know that type of shit is, you know what I mean? If people can get an Exodus t-shirt, but if I give them one, it's a different story. Right. I understand that. I get it totally. And I don't shy away from that. And I know that all my friends and the people that are close to me are all cool. They get it. You know what I mean? I understand that mentality because I still have my heroes who I look at and dig that kind of shit. You know what I mean? When I'm in the same room and I understand that demographic of how people, perception of how people, and I'm always cool. My worst fear is that somebody's going to have a bad experience with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think that's a good fear to have because there's so many people who get into the business for the wrong reasons, like you said, become the rock star, and then are just so unapproachable, so disconnected from
you wanted what you wanted. You wanted this so bad. Now it's sitting on your doorstep, and it's you're a dick. You're a dick to people.
I did want to just bookend that. Like, I mean, that's why I think there's heroes in the music business. Like, some of my heroes I laud because they had that mentality. Eddie Van Halen, Dimebag Darrell, these people, like even Dave Grohl, you know,
and it's
is
crazy
famous
how
for,
many people they affect from that attitude.
Yeah.
Which, like, now if you become that rock star tomorrow, it's like a chain of positivity because now, you know, you'll put that on.
Pantera guys have always been that way. Us and Suicidal gave them their very first tour in 1990 when Cowboys from Hell came out.
Yeah.
And Daryl and Vinny, all of them were really, you know, always kind of down to earth and had that kind of cool vibe to them. I went out in 92 with Black Sabbath, and Dio was the same way. I had a really good friendship relationship with Dio up until he died because of the way he carried himself. And you could get his autograph or his picture. Anybody could. As long as you wait out there, he wouldn't walk away. He'll sign every last damn thing and take every last picture. And I thought that a man of his stature, that was very noble.
Yeah, and it breeds community, you know,
Yeah.
like, and I think that's one of the things that is so important about metal specifically.
Yes.
Because when you talk about music as a whole and you break it down into genres, and there's all different, there's pros and cons for every genre that's out there, but metal is always and will always be a community, and it's tight knit, and it's for the most part very, very.
Well, it's like if you're in a mall, man, and you walk around or somewhere and you see a guy in a metal T-shirt, you won't have a problem looking at him going, right on, Iron Maiden, fuck yeah, right on. Nobody else would do that. It's like this I don't know, what do you call it? Illuminati clique that we all have amongst each other. You know, of we know, you know, you walk down, see some guy and he's got an Exodus T-shirt on. You know he's not wearing it for the fucking logo. You know he's got, you know, there's a validity behind that. And the thing is now is we're seeing our fans shit at a way younger age. I mean, I'm looking out there, they're 11, 10, 14 singing. We did a meet and greet, what was about last year? Had a grandfather, father, son, 3 generations of fucking Exodus fans that were coming up through. So they're there. It's like, even some nights I go, well, all right, we're going to go old school right now. Where's the old school guys? And I get a couple of arms going up. It's more like I'm looking out. So again, metal never loses its edge. You know, it's not like, I guess the music is timeless. Listen to Sabbath. I mean, the shit came out in 70 and it's still heavy as fucking hell, you know, and anything, you know, I mean, even Zeppelin it's heavy still. It's still got, it still rocks. It's still got some bottom to it, you know. You know, like listen to the drums and When the Levee Breaks, boom, boom, pow, just so heavy. And then anything from Maiden to Priest to whatever, it's just, metal is timeless. I mean, I was listening to Hellbent for Leather the other day. Today I had the first Merciful Fate EP album on while I was at the gym, you know. It's like, and it was killer. Every song is killer, you know. It's like, you love that shit, and that's why I think that, you know, I'm a true metalhead too. It's like, I don't just play in a metal band and get paid to do it, so I do it. I listen to metal when I'm in my car. It's like, you know, whatever, you know, it's metal. Anything from, like I was listening to the first Kiss album the other day, just because I haven't listened to the first Kiss record in fucking ages.
Yeah.
You know? So I do weird shit like that. And then I've been on Megadeth kick lately, so I'm listening to a shitload of Megadeth lately, and I'll do that. I'll get into Saxon Fest, where I'll do fucking every day I'm listening to Saxon, you know what I mean? And so it's, I go through these phases, and then I go through my Slayer phase, and I'll go through my death metal phase, where I'll listen to like Obituary and Cannibal Corpse and shit like that. Then I'll go to hardcore, I'll listen to Hatebreed for a week, along with Dead Kennedys and Ramones, and, you know, I just switch it up. But there's no hip hop, there's no country, there's no fucking pop music. You can put a Katy Perry song on right now and I go, who the fuck's that?
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Is there anybody up and coming, or any of the newer groups that you have your eye on that really, you know, catches
you know, you guys know Power Trip, right?
Yeah, those guys pound.
Those guys pound. Like, and then my kids, the new Hatred record comes out in April, and that's without me singing. This is the first one with my son Cody singing. It's It's definitely a good one, man. I got all the songs, and I was like, I gave it my blessing straight up. And I was like, wow, it's great. So, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's always Havoc and Hatchet, but these bands aren't even newer bands. They've already been around some time. I love Black Dahlia Murder. I love Trevor and those guys. Yeah. I'm friends with Aaron Pauley from Of Mice and Men. I don't listen to a lot of metalcore, but I love those guys. And so I switch it up. In This Moment sometimes. Randy's my friend, so I listen to that. So I if it's hard, it's got edge to it, I'm down. And if you're my friend, I'll always find a way to see what you're doing. You know what I mean? I support all my boys.
That's awesome. Man, you are an inspiration. You really are, because you, like you said, you're not only in the business, you're part of the business, and you're a fan of what you do, of what your peers do.
That's why I think that's why it's still good, because I haven't lost my edge when it comes to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still know what I want to hear rocks and what's still heavy to me and what's still, sounds killer, and what I know I can do vocally to that. You know what I mean? So it's still that much of. I think I haven't lost any of that. I think once you do, it's time to maybe get out. Maybe it's time to step out.
Well, I hope that time doesn't come for you anytime soon, because I know
I said I'm dying on stage, man. I'm going to go like Lemmy. Lemmy played 2 months.
Yeah.
We played in October, and we played with him on the motorboat in October, and he passed in December.
Yeah.
And I know he did shows in Europe after that.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go like that. Although, unlike Lemmy, I don't drink, I don't smoke cigarettes, and I don't do drugs. I smoke a shitload of weed, though, gentlemen. We're in California.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love that.
Gotta love that.
Remember.
I can't thank you enough for talking with us, because I'm really excited for everything that is in the future for Exodus, seeing what happens this year and next year with a new record, more tours, and all that stuff. I'm obviously in the show going to put all the places that all of our fans and followers can find Exodus. It's very easy. You guys are everywhere on social media and everything else.
Facebook. Wide, man. You go to anybody's Facebook, you find out what the hell they're doing.
Exactly.
Because that's where they go first. Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
It used to be websites. Websites don't do shit anymore. As long as you got a Facebook, people can find what you're doing, man. Yeah. So it's cool. So
yeah. Well, Steve, again, man, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
This was a hell of a lot of fun talking with you.
It was a lot of fun too. Thanks. Perfect.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.